Hey students, welcome to week 2 of Introduction to Business. This week our learning objectives include a number of things, but let's just go through them fairly quickly, knowing the important definitions of various business ownerships, things like sole proprietor, C Corps, S Corps, limited liability, that sort of thing. We're also looking at knowing the purposes of a nonprofit. I've got an example I'm going to share with you here in a few minutes during this overview. And then also identifying the advantages and disadvantages of each of the type of those businesses that are identified in Chapter 4. We're going to jump over to Chapter 5. We're going to look at defining what a small business is and what it means. We're going to look at the reasons that small businesses succeed and that they fail. There's a lot of them that open every year and a lot of them that close up every year. And then we're going to look at explaining the franchise model as well. Now, to illustrate a number of the principles in these two chapters, I'm going to tell you a story about a nonprofit that I'm involved with. This is a true story, of course. This is an actual account. I'm involved in a nonprofit called the Jackson Christian Early Learning Center. The center is a Christian-based nonprofit that delivers preschool services to our local community. We do business as God's Garden Early Learning Center, more specifically. So the name of the nonprofit is Jackson Christian Early Learning Center, but we do business as, people know us as God's Garden. We formed this back in July of 2015, so we're just now closing in on the end of our third year. God's Garden was formed by a group of concerned educators, I was one of those, because we have a heart for Christian education at all levels in our community. We're concerned with the curriculum and the messaging from the state-funded preschools, and we wanted to offer something different, a different choice to parents. Like I said, we've been in business since July of 2015. Our fiscal year begins July 1. And so we had enrollment by that late August, early September. And the first year was break even, barely break even. In fact, we may have even lost a little bit, $100 or so. The second year was a little bit better. We made a little bit more. We're targeting a great year this year as we get ready to close out our books in this fiscal year, which ends June 30th. I think our revenues this year are projected to be over $200,000, and our margin or profit, if you will, probably about $2,000 or $3,000. So not so bad for the third year in business. We started off delivering services to 12 full-time equivalent children, and now we're up to 25. So the way when you look at preschools, 12 full-time equivalent, we actually probably had about 18 or 19 kids, and between all of them, we had 12 full-time kids. We're up to 25 FTE now, probably about 30 kids who come in and out of our doors each week. Now, there were times in the first 12 to 18 months when we were not sure how we were going to make payroll. We weren't sure how we were going to make it. We had to take some drastic actions. We had to limit spending. We had to freeze wages. We had to pump up our advertising and our promotion to get our name out there because we're brand new. Then we had to limit our donations to our participating partners. Not taking action in a crisis would have ended us for sure. We wouldn't have made it past the first year and a half. But our board, the executive director of our nonprofit, who's excellent, and all of our employees who are just excellent people, all jumped in and made a difference. Businesses fail, you guys, when owners and stakeholders stand by and let things happen without action. They just take on the whole victim role and let things happen to them instead of standing up and going out and doing something about it. And that's what we had to do. We had to make a decision as a company. What are we going to do about this? So we took action and we survived. Today, we have one payroll banked in our savings, which we're pretty proud of, and we have a waiting list for the fall time. And again, we didn't do this. God is good. God is taking care of us. As you read these two chapters, chapters 4 and 5, read it as if you're starting a business and you had to make it work. Alternately, you may not start a business, but if you're engaged or you're in a business, you're going to join a business as an employee or whatever, make it your own. Read this material throughout this course and this just as if you had to make this business run on your own. Businesses in the U.S. today face a lot of what I would call headwind. Things blowing against you, trying to blow you off course. A lot of headwind in being successful, against being successful. But I want you to think about how you could make a business work, how you could help an existing business become better. In fact, throughout the rest of this course and this text and this term, make this material personal to you. You make it personal when you think about a business that you would start or a business in which you already participate. In Chapter 4, be sure to read about the advantages and disadvantages of the various types of ownership models. Table 4.2 and Table 4.3 are great, concise overviews of the various models and their pluses and their minuses. In Chapter 5, it's all about small businesses. Like I just indicated, many small businesses fail because they do not act quickly enough, and there's a number of other reasons given about why small businesses fail. Another reason for failure is a lack of a good business plan before you even begin. Be sure to read about the business plans and their components in that chapter. And then in this week's material in Canvas, I've included the business plan for what eventually became God's Garden. It was a business plan that was written back in 2014, I think is when it was. And we used that plan to guide us along the way. The plan was extensive because we needed to convince 2 other nonprofit boards to partner with us. Now, if you start a business, your business plan may not need to be this detailed, the one that's presented as an example for God's Garden, but you can certainly reference that outline of that plan as for starting points. And then in Table 5.3 in the chapter, it also gives a pretty good outline for what a business plan might look like. Okay, that's all for right now. Please read Chapter 4 and Chapter 5 on the different forms of ownership and about small businesses. A reminder that your initial response in Canvas to each of your 2 discussion questions is due by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. Again, both questions have to have an initial response by Wednesday, 11:59 p.m. Week 1, I gave you a little bit of a not marking people down if they were late by a day or 2. Wednesday, 11:59 p.m., both discussion questions have to be answered. And then you owe 3 other responses in some way, shape, or form to your cohorts or your classmates, okay, by Sunday, 11:59 p.m. Quizzes are due no later than Friday night, 11:59 p.m., and your weekly assignments must be uploaded into Canvas no later than Sunday, 11:59 p.m. All that's in the syllabus. I just want to point it out to you right now. Also, I'm available during virtual office hours on Tuesday evenings from 7:30 to 8. I use Zoom. You can just find the link in the welcome module, pop in and pop out using that Zoom module from your laptop or your computer. Make sure your mic and if you have a camera that's working. You don't have to join with a camera if you don't want to. Additionally, you're always welcome to contact me even outside of virtual office hours, and we can talk via phone or Zoom meeting. Please make sure, though, you contact me if you are struggling. Okay, remember, God is on his throne. He's always been there, and he's always going to be. Thanks, and have a great week.